welcome to Ethical Hacking in Penetration Testing, brought to you by Eduonix. This is Chapter 5, Desktop Hacking Techniques. Now, some of the topics we're going to be covering in this chapter are security assessment of Windows, security assessment of Linux, Trojans, backdoors, viruses and worms, hacking Windows, hacking Linux, data mining techniques, post-exploitation techniques, and some malware analysis as well. So, security assessment of Windows. Some of the things you can do to help make Windows that little bit safer. Microsoft do a cracking job as it is, but there's always somebody one step ahead who's trying to undo their good work. So you can enable BitLocker. You can raise the UAC slider. It's kind of been there since Vista. You should know what that is by now. Patch everything, not just the main operating system, but all the guest software as well. Just because the OS is patched doesn't mean that there's going to be no holes in your Office applications or that kind of thing. It's a good idea to install some anti-spam and anti-malware applications. Smart Screen is fantastic, great especially if you have kids. System inventory, and do a major data backup as well. Let's have a look at some of these things. So enable BitLocker. I quite like the new features that allow removable media, both NTFS and FAT volumes, to be encrypted. You can encrypt removable drives one at a time, or if you require that, all removable drives be encrypted by default as well. Encrypted removable media can be decrypted and re-encrypted on any Windows 7 computer, Windows 8 as well now I believe. Not just the one it was originally encrypted on either. So you can encrypt FAT, exFAT, no you can't. Encrypted FAT, exFAT and FAT32 media can be shared with Windows XP and Vista clients, but the encrypted data is read-only and can't be re-encrypted. So BitLocker drive encryption can be used to encrypt any volume on your hard drive, including boot, system, and even removable media such as USB keys. The rough edges from Vista are pretty much gone. You can now right-click and encrypt any volume from Windows Explorer. There are several protection methods, including combinations of the Trusted Platform Module, TPM, chip, PIN, password, and smart card. So this is the dreaded UAC slider that everybody was talking about in Vista. So User Access Control, or UAC, has been significantly improved to be both less intrusive, which it was very, and smarter at distinguishing between legitimate and potentially malicious activities in Windows 7. However, depending on whether you're logged in as an administrator or a standard user, some installs of Windows 7 may have a default UAC setting that's one level lower than some experts would really recommend. Standard users have UAC security defaults to the most secure setting, whilst administrators reside a notch below the highest setting, which is potentially more risky, but I guess they should know what they're doing. Patch everything. Yeah, that's kind of exactly as it should be. So in Windows 7 default settings, the Windows Update service will be appropriately configured to download and install critical Windows operating system and Microsoft application files in a timely manner. Multiple studies have shown that Microsoft software is among the most patched software in the world. No surprise there. You know what it's like, 5 o'clock, time to go home, you go to turn your laptop off. It says, installing a million updates, please don't power off the machine. How annoying. But Windows has nothing built in to help you keep up with all the non-Microsoft patches. So install software or enable the processors to ensure that programs are patched. If not automatically, then at least get it to notify you when there are patches out there so you don't miss any important ones. So anti-spam and malware. So malware, for you guys who don't know, is short for malicious software. It includes quite a few things. So the biggest threat to client systems is the Trojan horse, which is your fake Outlook patch, your fake antivirus scanner that scams the end user into downloading and executing malicious software. As it says here, long gone are the days when you could rely on bad grammar and misspelling to point out the bad stuff. Today, even the most knowledgeable security people can be fooled. Unless you can tell the difference between good and bad software with perfect accuracy, you should install and use some up-to-date anti-spam and anti-malware software. Microsoft Security Essentials is really good for Windows 7. They've called it something else in Windows 8 now. I think it's around Windows Defender, maybe. But all the Microsoft things are really good. They'll generally give you advice as well if they don't cover a part of your system. Say you only get the firewall, you don't have an antivirus. In the little action center you get in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, it'll say this isn't protected against XYZ. Suggested action would be to download an antivirus or a firewall just to make sure you are fully protected. So this is Smart Screen that I was talking about. Smart Screen results in a slight but just noticeable delay when you browse the internet. Even the savvier security users may want to disable this setting, while for the most part, most users will make sure it's enabled for their own good, really. If you're running IE8, you can check by selecting the Smart Screen filter from the safety menu. So when you first set up IE8, one of the setup wizards asks if you want to enable the Smart Screen filter, which checks a local database or a Microsoft site to see if you've served websites that have been previously marked as legitimate or malicious. Smart Screen also checks for many predefined malicious behaviors such as cross-site scripting, and this is the websites that give you these really annoying pop-ups that don't give you an option to close them down. It says you must click here to do a particular action. When you do, it downloads some software without you knowing and you've been hacked. Smart Screen is good, not for those that don't like Internet Explorer, obviously, since this is a Microsoft only product. There are similar ones out there for Safari, Chrome and Firefox. I think there was one out there for Netscape as well, but I'm not sure anybody still uses that anymore. Anyway, I divulge. This is a great application. I would definitely have it enabled, especially if you have children who don't know what they're clicking on. With your standard parenting software as well, this could be a very good combination to keep the kids safe online. System inventory. How many times have you thought, Christ, this computer is running rather slowly, and then you look in your all programs menu and you've got a little button at the top that lets you scroll up the menu because there's too many there for it to be listed on your screen. You've just installed a bit of software that you didn't uncheck something, and it installed 3 further applications on top of it that you didn't know about. You know the kind, all the toolbars you get on your browser windows, that kind of thing. So to fight this, it's called software creep. So to fight software creep, you should periodically inventory the software and services running on your system and remove what isn't needed. You can manually inspect your system or use a utility like Microsoft Autoruns, which is a free download. Autoruns will list every program and service running on your system and allow you to disable what is not needed with a click of the mouse. The best advice is to do your research before disabling anything you don't recognize, so you don't cause yourself unexplainable operational issues later after you've already forgotten what you've disabled. So over time, most systems accumulate more and more, often unnecessary programs that end up exacting a toll on the memory resources and a few other things as well. Without an active cleanup of your system, it will become slower, more prone to crashing, and stocked with additional attack vectors for bad stuff to exploit as well. You're probably not very likely to want to update something if you didn't know what it is, so even if it popped up and said, this is a great new DVD editor update, you should download it, you think, I didn't install that, no, go away. Yet, you now have a DVD editor already installed, which is unpatched. Backup. The one thing nobody does, the one thing everybody should do. Back up your irreplaceable data. If the worst thing happens and your system is unrecoverable, at least your data is stored somewhere safe. It might even be an idea to keep more important data in an offline storage. If it's offline, it can't be stolen. Very true, but it could be destroyed. So if it's really that valuable, keep it in a couple of places. Like, I have some very valuable pictures on my iPhone, and I have it backed up on my laptop on a memory stick. I also periodically burn them to a DVD as well. That's not me being paranoid. I would just want to be sure that I don't want to lose the data I have. That is just for files rather than the system, but you can do a system-wide backup as well. Windows does let you do a backup, and I think it's called a new system wizard, whereby if you were to buy a new computer, you tell Windows that you're going to ditch the computer it's on. It backs up all your system settings and your files to a DVD or a USB drive. The idea being then you put it into the new machine, start it up, and you have all exactly the same system as you did previously, but a more updated system. That doesn't work incredibly well in the long run, but it's probably the only thing you can do to save things like settings and other things in the Windows operating system as well.